Have Zyppah, which is Happy Z backwards. It's a private company with the only custom-fitted anti-snoring device with a patented tongue strap, which moves your lower jaw forward and gently holds your tongue in place, thus preventing snoring. Happy to welcome its CEO, Larry Biggs, and possibly we'll have Dr. Jonathan Greenburg, founder and owner, as well for the Q&A. Larry, nice to meet you. Very much looking forward to hearing about your product and company.
Well, thanks for the introduction, Anna. I think the best way for us to start is I've got a highlight video that I'd like Ryan to play, and that'll kind of give a good overview of what our product is and how it works. So, Ryan, if you can roll that video, that's the way to start.
We're back now with the issue keeping millions of couples awake at night, snoring, affecting approximately 90 million Americans. So it's no surprise there's a boom of new over-the-counter products on the market, claiming to immediately relieve the noise and give you both a better night's sleep. But do they work? Here's NBC News national investigative correspondent Jeff Rawson in his latest Rawson Reports.
These inexpensive over-the-counter products claim to be the solution. The Snore No More pillow, the Snore Doc anti-snore chin strap, and this device called the Zyppah. We're going to have Jack try each one. It's unscientific, but let's see what happens. Okay, this is Zyppah. It's a mouth guard. You want to go ahead and put that in?
Sure.
The website says that it will immediately reduce or stop your snoring. You want to give it a shot? You ready?
That's it.
Jack climbs into bed, and I'm watching a live feed from downstairs. Okay, he's asleep now. He's completely out, and good news. It's quiet, not a peep out of him. The mouth guard worked.
All right, so, Dr. Greenburg, show us exactly what you are doing that is fixing Shaq's problem and can help others as well. So, what we created, what was really special, it's about the tongue falling back, blocking the airway. And it just slides back. So what we need to do is create a restrainer, what I call a seatbelt for the tongue.
Okay.
And so the Zyppah mouthpiece, and we created this name because what does everybody want when they sleep? Happy Z's.
Yes.
So we said Happy Z backwards is Zyppah.
All right.
Everybody remember it. So we went ahead with the elastic here. So here's your tongue. It goes over the tongue.
Yep.
And then as your tongue goes back, it will keep it from falling back. You know, fortunately, we were able to patent it and to really help people. There's 90 million people who snore, another 50 million bed partners of those people who snore. That's a huge number. And so we want to get them all realizing snoring is a big thing. They need to address it. And then snoring very often becomes sleep apnea as they get older.
And how do they work for Shaq?
It works beautifully.
It does. And do you still make that bear-like sound like you just got shot?
Well, when I don't wear the mouthpiece, yes, but when I do wear it, you hardly hear any sound. And I actually feel better when I wake up in the morning. Like, I feel pretty good right now. Some people snore loudly, but noise is just where the problem starts. Your brain can't breathe. Your blood pressure rises. You gain weight, lose memory, and worst of all, nobody likes a snorer. I've tried a lot of solutions, but the only one that worked is Zyppah. Now I get the best sleep of my life. The snoring victim isn't just who's sleeping nearby. It could be you. It's your health we're talking about, right?
The Joe Rogan Experience.
No, it's different. It holds my tongue down. It keeps my tongue from sliding back. It made a world of difference. Changed everything.
Dude. This is what happens when you snore. The tongue, which is a muscle, relaxes, falls back, blocking the airway. This creates turbulence and causes the snoring sound. The smaller the air passage, the louder the snoring. This is why Zyppah has been clinically proven to be effective for treating snoring. It is the only solution that directly prevents the tongue from blocking the airway.
Public service announcement. Zyppah's an anti-snoring device that really works. You hear me? Zyppah. Get a Zyppah now. Is your snoring so loud that the cops show up at your front door talking about disturbing the peace? You need to get a Zyppah. That's Zyppah.com.
Up to you.
Okay. I'll just leave it up there.
Ryan, can you make my deck bigger, or?
You can maximize it with the button in the upper right corner of the slide. You guys are live.
Hello, everyone. As Anna said, my name is Larry Biggs, and I have Dr. Greenburg, who's our founder and chairman, with us. And we want to share with you today a little bit about our company, Zyppah. Zyppah is an anti-snoring mouthpiece. We actually have 2 FDA clearances. One is to treat mild to moderate sleep apnea, and the other FDA clearance is to treat snoring. We focus on treating snoring, and we focus on a direct-to-consumer model to treat snoring. And we also have been granted a patent on our product, which covers the tongue strap, which we'll chat about a little bit. The problem is snoring. Snoring is not just disruptive, it's actually a health disorder. It interrupts your sleep, it causes disease problems such as stroke, high blood pressure, also even leads to sleep apnea, which becomes even a worse disease where you're going to actually get into coronary heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart attacks. One of the most common things is you have sleep apnea, it'll cause you to stop breathing, put a big load on your heart, and after that load is on your heart, you end up having a heart attack. So snoring leads to a number of problems. We have a solution to that problem. We have a product, which is the only product on the market which addresses snoring with 2 methods. One is mandibular advancement, where you're actually pulling that lower jaw forward and opening up the airway. We also have a patented tongue strap. We call it the seat belt for the tongue. And that holds your tongue out of the way when you're basically sleeping, and if that tongue will fall back and block that airway, our patented tongue strap will prevent that from happening. One of the biggest things that we have to offer that differentiates us from anybody else is we have a clinical trial. The clinical trial has proven that we've got a 91% efficacy. So that's a very strong supporting factor in our product. We do not believe any competitor is actually going to go out there and even do a trial, because we don't think they're going to achieve more than a 30–40% effectiveness, especially without our patented tongue strap. So we think we're going to remain as the only guys out there that have a clinical trial, a published clinical trial reviewed in medical publications that actually shows our efficacy. The market for this product is absolutely vast. If we just jump down to the second table here, you take a look at the first highlighted line there where it says 0.3%. What this is if we penetrate 1/3 of 1% of the global market, we would be generating almost $140 million in revenue. And the way we define that market is Western countries where we can actually do things like Amazon, we can ship, we can actually deliver direct to consumer. So that's basically what we would call Western developed countries, a 1/3 of 1% of Western developed countries. In America alone, there's well over 100 million people that snore. A 2% penetration of that American market only would generate about $148 million in revenue for us. So the market, as you can see, is just absolutely vast. Our competition, if you notice, we're across the top. None of the competition has everything that we offer. We basically have a custom fit mouthpiece. It's a boil and bite mouthpiece. We have a 91-day warranty. We're the only guys that are patented that we know of. We have mandibular advancement and tongue strap. As I shared, we have 2 ways of treating snoring, and we're clinically proven to be 91% effective. We also have new products coming to market. Just 2 weeks ago, we actually launched our mouth tape, so that actually has hit the market already. We have nasal strips, appliance cleaner. We have a pillow coming out. We have sleep supplements with CBD and without CBD. We also have an alarm system that we're working on, which will wear on your wrist, and it actually measures your desaturation of your oxygen level. And what it actually does, it'll wake you up through your smartphone to actually get your heart beating again, to get you into a regular mode, to prevent a heart attack. We're also coming out with a snoring app, a sleep apnea home test, and there'll be several others as well. One of the assets we have is we've got strong management. Dr. Greenburg is the founder and chairman. He's the inventor of the product. He's received his degree in biomedical engineering from Syracuse. He's also a dentist. But more importantly, he's treated over 10,000 patients in the country with sleep apnea. And he's one of the lead speakers, the lead KOLs that are out there in the industry. Myself, I've founded and I've run several private and public companies. I've got several patents in my name. I've taken one of my companies to the NASDAQ to a $1.4 billion valuation. So I've rode this horse before. I know how to do this. And I think we've got a great product to take it to the next level. Richard Serban is our Chief Science Officer. He has served for 15 or 16 years as head of business development at Johnson & Johnson. He still currently sits on about 15 or 16 Johnson & Johnson subsidiary boards. He's got I call it a commercial pharmacy degree because he's actually like a commercial pharmacist. He's not, he's not out there working in the Walgreens, but he knows his stuff. He's also served as his law degree. He served as the FDA counsel for Johnson & Johnson. So he's got quite a background, and he serves as our officer. Josh Barris, quite an incredible human being. He stepped into, he's done a number of things, but the most recent one, he was the CEO of GNC, turned them around from basically a bankruptcy over to about a $3.5 billion revenue. I'm sorry, not market cap, but revenue. So he actually sits on our board as well. I don't have a detailed pro forma, but obviously that's available to anybody who wants it. But what's great about our business, with a small penetration of the market, we can do significant revenue. We're projecting post-funding that in year one, we can do revenue of 20 million, year two, 66 million, and by year three, about 148 million. Because we've got a tremendous gross revenue, we make the product for about $16.50. We sell it for $99. Because of that gross revenue, we also bring a very strong net profit to the bottom line. If you can see there that we're running, we run between 30 and 40% once we're hitting on all 8 cylinders. And our market is wide open for this. Although I showed you the numbers that we can achieve, the more important number actually is that only 5% of the market is being treated for snoring right now. There's still 95% of that market that's not being treated. And mouthpieces are now the ones that are growing to actually be the ones leading the market for this treatment. And we're obviously, quite frankly, we're the best product that's on the market. So if you take a look at the space we're in, we obviously have 2 exit opportunities, quite honestly. One is to go to an IPO, a public offering, but the other one is because half of our customers will test positive for sleep apnea, we're also a perfect target acquisition for the large multi-billion-dollar sleep apnea companies. So in the sleep space, the multiples that the public companies are getting are very strong. Sleep space is just growing rapidly. But if you look at ResMed, who's doing basically $4.2 billion in annual revenue, they got a market valuation of $26 billion. Inspire Medical, I put them in there because they're still losing money. But even though losing money, their valuation is based on a multiple of their revenue. They've got basically a 10 time on their gross revenue, and they're worth $6 billion. Nyxoah is a company that's been in Europe mostly, but just came to the United States the last couple of months. They're doing about $4.3 million in revenue. They lost $43 million for the year, and they're valued at about $300 million. So you can see the sleep space provides a pretty good valuation for sleep companies. The reason we're here today is we're looking for capital. We're looking to raise $6 million. It's basically just a straight equity investment. Pre-money valuation at $30 million. And basically we're using the money mostly for marketing and overheads. That's where our revenue is directly related to what our advertising spend is. So if we're spending on, whether it be Google ads or Sirius Radio or whatever it might be, that directly impacts what our revenue is. So we're looking for capital to basically, boost up that spending on the advertising. So I will take a breath. This is kind of just a quick overview of who and what we are. So if there's any questions, I think I'd probably open it up to questions and we can respond to that.
All right, perfect. Thank you. We do have some questions for you. First of all, congratulations on a brilliant marketing campaign, says our viewer, Nole. What does it cost you to acquire a customer? And is this typically a one-time purchase?
So our cost of acquisition right now is about 50%, but if you look at our performance over the first year, over 12 months, we project that we'll get our cost of acquisition down to about 30% or maybe even lower. If we actually increase our shopping cart, it'll even be lower than 30%. But we expect about a 30% cost of acquisition. Anna, what was your second question? I'm sorry.
The second question was, is it typically a one-time purchase?
No, they usually reorder. Between 12 and 18 months, we'll get a reorder on the product. And this is not very highly technical, but the biggest reason is it gets yucky. The product still works and still strong, but after about a year to 18 months, they usually order another one just because they want a fresh one.
And Anya wants you to talk a little bit about growth. When did you launch and what has your growth rate been?
We launched in 2012, and we actually had some great growth prior to COVID. Prior to COVID, we grew to about 13.5 million in revenue, and to brag a little bit on the company, that was all without outside capital. When COVID hit, COVID really knocked us back. As anybody would remember, we were selling in dental practice at that time as well, and they closed down all the dental practice in America. So we got caught in COVID, and that really pushed us back. So we're basically back on the road right now, post-COVID, looking for capital, but we're going to stay in the direct-to-consumer marketing. We're not going to go to the dental space, or at least not anytime soon. We would probably go to the retail space, more like a Walgreens, which we are approved for over-the-counter sales. We'd probably go to a Walgreens, CVS, that sort of retail market before we went back to the dental market. So all direct-to-consumer. Our growth, to make it very simple, is based on the capital we have, because we spend with a 30% cost of acquisition and an 80% gross margin. We basically have the ability to drive profitability very quickly.
Our viewer Ruben says he knows the name, but he didn't know about the product. So how many different products does the company sell?
Currently, we only sell 3 products. We sell our flagship products, our anti-snoring mouthpiece. We sell a cleaner that goes with that. Actually 4. We have a nose strip that we sell as well. And then we just launched our mouth tape just a few weeks ago. So I'd say 4 products now, but we have about a dozen products that we'll be bringing to market over the next 12 to 18 months.
Teresa wants you to talk about how this is a simple alternative to those big sleep apnea machines. Is it from one of those CPAP machines?
So that's an interesting question, because we are approved, as I shared earlier, for both. We're FDA cleared for both mild to moderate sleep apnea and for snoring. However, from a business model, the marketing is so much more attractive and so much more efficient to sell to snorers than it is to sell to sleep apnea patients. To sell to a sleep apnea patient, you have to be a dentist or a doctor and have a prescription. So we're not going down that line. However, it will treat your sleep apnea. We're not allowed to say it if we haven't prescribed it, but if you're using it for snoring, it actually will improve your sleep apnea condition. So, but we're not selling it for that. We're selling it only for the anti-snoring at this time.
Okay, perfect. And Jim wants to know, did the tongue strap trigger a gag reflex in any of your trials?
I'm going to let Dr. Greenburg respond to that.
So it's a great question. And that's the good news, bad news. The reason why it is so much more effective than any of the competitors is because it directly goes after the tongue. And sleep apnea, snoring, is about a big tongue and a small mouth. So when you keep that from falling back, like wearing a seatbelt, that in about 25% of our patients will cause a gag reflex. There is no problem with getting past that. The way to get past it is simply by putting it in about 2 hours before you go to sleep. Get distracted, watch TV, respond to your emails and such. And by then, when you're ready to go to sleep, try it out. If you're not getting to bed easy, do that again the next night and the next night. Somewhere between the first night and the 7th night, you'll wake up in the morning, you'll go, fine, piece of cake. But for that 25%, definitely they will need basically to work with it, to work through it. As Larry said, I've treated over 10,000 patients. We haven't had anybody that couldn't adapt to it. And just as note, on the 91% success rate that was without any help from any of my team or myself. People just did this on their own. And so 91 out of 100 people were successful in cutting their snoring back.
Fantastic. All right. Good to hear. John says you mentioned other products. So talk about how many and when is this expected to launch? And are any still in R&D?
I'll yield to Dr. Greenburg once again.
Yeah. So the mouth tape we've just launched, which is fantastic. The mouth tape, it gets you doing nose breathing. It's one of the most exciting things that I'm about to bring to market. My undergraduate degree was biomedical engineering. And then I spent the last 25 years in the snoring and sleep apnea world. I've been on Dr. Oz with our patient Shaquille O'Neal. I've been interviewed over 100 times. I've trained physicians and dentists on how to treat snoring and sleep apnea. So this is my world. It also gives Zyppah a really big competitive advantage over any of our competitors. So all of these products, when you think of Zyppah, think of Apple or Tesla. We're best in class. We'll never be the cheapest, but we'll always be the best. And that's kind of the brand where we're going, because we're not looking for just profits today. We're building a company that's going to be a household name over the next 3 to 5 years as we either go public or get acquired.
And I want to add to that we've done $55 million in revenue to date, and we've sold over 550,000 mouthpieces. And we have, over the years, we have less than a 7% return rate, which is well above the industry average of 20%. And last year, we only had a 4.5% return rate. So, basically, we know the market loves our product. We just need to seek capital and obtain capital to actually spend the money on that marketing and get our product known in the market, is really what it comes down to.
By the way, also, Anna, to further answer your question, we are, within the next 30 days, we'll probably be releasing a melatonin gummy as well as a sleep aid gummy. Both of those are already perfected. We're ready to go with them. It's just getting it to market, which is part of what this funding will help us do. And then we've got further products within 90 days of getting the capital we're looking for. We'll be able to bring those out as well.
Val remarks that the market is virtually untapped, like you mentioned. So what does the marketing or educating the consumer cost? What's your budget for that?
Well, out of the $6 million, if you look at the uses of funds, we have about $3 to $3.5 million for marketing, but that's out of the equity. We'll also take the profit and put it back into the market. So as you look in, you look in the first year, you're probably spending $10 to $15 million to generate, basically at 20 million. And then by the second year, you've got 68 million, I think the number was. So basically it's you end up looking at a 30% cost of acquisition. So you can do the math very simply. It's how much capital we raise and how much capital we, retain that we put back into marketing is going to drive our sales. I don't mean to oversimplify our business, but as he said, our market is wide open. So it's a matter of really communicating to the market that A, we are the best product, and B, that we're available. And it's just, choosing different paths. We haven't had the capital up to this point to really take advantage of the most beneficial ones, such as influencers and things like that. Those are the ones where you really get your best bang for your buck and best return on your investment. So raising this capital is going to allow us to really expand that opportunity. To really go on a tangent a little bit, we have everything in place to grow. We have our FDA clearances, we have our patents, we have our clinical study, we've done $55 million a day, we've sold over 500,000 of these units. It's really just capital that really lets us grow. So I think we're very, very well positioned to grow very aggressively.
Brad asks, did you take investment when you launched, and what percentage of the company do the current C-suite own?
There basically was no outside capital raised until about a year ago. There was actually a crowdfunding about 4 years ago, but by hitting 13 million, there was only about 350 to 400,000 of outside capital raised. That's what it was. The cap table is very tight. Dr. Greenburg owns, basically about, I'd say 58%. I own about 28%, and the rest is a small investor. So the cap table is very tight.
And viewer Sincere asks, what is the price differential between you and your competitors?
Dr. Greenburg, I'll let you take that as well.
Yeah, sure. So our competitors is selling anywhere from Chinese kind of simple things that, don't do much, $19, $29. Our biggest competitors are at about $59 to $70. We are $99, but on sale, we get down to $70, $79. So we're a little bit more expensive, but not significant. And when you look at the time period and the fact that we're going to work, again, that's part of our image. With our research, we found that as long as we were less than $100, that wasn't a huge stake. The big issue really, and gets to the education, is the cost of customer acquisition. And it's also the reason for bringing out these additional products. We're going to be bringing out a pillow as well. The more products we have, the higher the cart value. The higher the cart value, the more we can spend on customer acquisition. And so creating that brand out there again that we used to have, get that back out there. We expect to see very substantial changes. It's the reason why Josh Burris, who was CEO of GNC, is on our board. He loves us. He feels he'll get us to 100 to 200 million a year very quickly.
And doctor, what percentage of your subjects in the trials were not helped by this?
So 9%. So remember, there were about 600 people in the study, and 91% were helped, 9% were not. And we published it in a peer-reviewed medical journal for that. And as Larry said previously, for people with sleep apnea, it works, the product works, and it's approved for treatment for sleep apnea, but you need a doctor's prescription if you're going to be treating your sleep apnea for it.
And Felix asks, what percentage has reordered after the estimated 18 months you mentioned earlier?
What percentage?
Mm-hmm.
We're not sure exactly. It's I know during COVID we were probably doing about 2 million a year just on reorders. Okay. So I'm not sure of the exact percentage, but it's strong. We're very excited about the mouth tape because the mouth tape is a complete consumable where they reorder it every 30 days. On the mouth tape, we are the lowest in the marketplace with, I believe, again, the best product in the marketplace. Creates nasal breathing, creating nitric oxide. Mm-hmm. That's one of the products I'm most excited about. And with it being consumable, ordered every 30 days, our profit on that is about $10 roughly per month. So whereas the mouthpiece, if it were every 12 months, our profit's about net profit about $30, $40 a year. On the mouth tape, it's $120 a year when somebody subscribes. So very excited about that, but especially excited on how much it helps people. And this is global. So we're not, what happened with the clinical study is that got us approved globally, worldwide. We're approved in all 27 countries in the EU, Canada, Great Britain, and any other country that we pay there. Basically, you have to pay a fee, and then we're in.
Wonderful. Well, I'll let you guys give us a minute of closing remarks, Larry or Doctor, whomever.
Well, I'll start and I'll let Dr. Greenburg, I'll take a minute, let him take a minute. I'll just say that once again, just to what Dr. Greenburg just said, we went to dormancy for about 2 years and didn't spend anything on advertising. We still did $5 million in revenue without spending 10 cents on advertising. That tells you how well received our product is. But to repeat what I said earlier, we have everything in place. We've got, 55 million in revenue, the clearances, the product. If you look at the clinical study, nobody else has a clinical study. Nobody else uses 2 basic forms to treat snoring, and nobody has patents on the product like we do. So we're in place and positioned for a very, very fast growth. I think that's really how we're a very simple business, and I think it's just a matter of putting some capital behind the opportunity. So, Dr. Greenburg, I'll just share you some time if you want to say anything before we go.
Sure. When I created Zyppah, which is Happy Z spelled backwards, I looked at businesses and what do you need to do to create a very successful business? If you can prove you're best in class in the entire space, that's significant. huge profit margins. So we make it for $16.50, sell it for $99. A massively burgeoning market. Only 5% of the 100 million people in the U.S. alone are treated currently for snoring. I mean, if we do 1% of the U.S. market, that's 1 million people, we're doing 100 million a year. So we've got all of that. We've got myself, which is unique. None of our competitors have someone who's a KOL, key opinion leader in the industry, the space, treated this many patients, biomedical engineer. So we've got everything in alignment except for the capital. We are basically the race car on the road. It's been built. Everything's perfected. We just need the fuel for the car.
Perfect. All right. Well, I hope this helps, and we really appreciate you guys coming on, solving some real-time problems. So we appreciate you and hope to see you again with some more updates.
Thanks, Anna. Appreciate it.
All right, everyone. We'll be right back.